morning. This is a video about converting a Yaesu, I don't know how to pronounce it, FTC-1123 transceiver. It's VHF FM. The battery in it originally was NiCad, and I converted it to lithium ion. The process for doing that is basically I took this bottom piece, opened it up, this comes off. This is originally was a NiCad battery pack, and I gutted it. I pulled the NiCad batteries out. This device itself, I believe, was manufactured in 1986. The batteries in it were no good. And what I did was I gutted it. I then took three of these PK cell 800 milliamp hour 14500 batteries, since 18650s wouldn't really easily fit in there. And then I took a BMS. I wired the batteries in series and then wired the BMS to the batteries according to the diagram from the manufacturer. Charging is done through this port here. Originally, this radio had three ways to charge, two ways to charge it and one way to power it. You could charge it by putting it in a charger. You could plug up an AC adapter to it, or you could power it through here. I took out this connector and I just put the charge connector. The charge connector is powered through the AC adapter connection. It goes to the BMS, and what I'll do is I'll have a drawing that I'll do. When you connect power to charge the unit, it disconnects power from the radio. I'm sure there's a better way of doing that. I just decided that's the way I was going to do it. I'm not going to use this thing. Eventually it's probably going to be sold. I don't really have a use for it. Its frequency range, as best I can understand, is 150 megahertz to 160 megahertz. It can transmit. I do not know any specs for it. I can tell you though that when powered on, it uses about 50 milliamps. When you press the transmit button on high, it puts out about 500, or it uses about 550 milliamps. I do not know what the transmit power is though. Let's see here. This thing is probably the most unintuitive device I have ever had to program. I did find instructions for how to do it, but they were not manufacturer instructions, so I don't know how well they work. Before I do anything with that, I'll show you that if you can see the power supply on my desk, this is turned off, and I'll plug in the power and you'll see that it will start charging. It draws 800 milliamps. Actually, it'll draw more than that. It can actually it can charge these batteries at about, I believe it's said 6 amps, which I think is way more than you're supposed to charge these 14500s. But the BMS is supposed to, I don't know. Anyways, the BMS has a connection on it that I don't know what it's for. It's marked T. It's probably for temperature, but manufacturer, seller on eBay, nobody, I couldn't find any information on the BMS exactly what that's for. It'll work without it apparently, and you can see it's charging those batteries at 1.2 amps. I've had it running for today probably for a couple of hours, and at 50 milliamp it could probably power this thing without transmitting for 16 hours, I would think, maybe longer. I'm going to run through how to program this thing, and this is just a basic get you going program, because this thing can be a repeater and it apparently can do all sorts of things, but I just could not find how to do that, and I'm not that into that kind of thing. First thing is, this is broken, but when you get this, or get one of these, there is a button here which has to be, I believe, out. And I'll put the instructions that I have received in the description. Then on the back, this is a reset button, and you turn it on, press the reset button, and this thing is completely and totally, like I said, unintuitive. The way you program it is you press the frequency that you want. So in this case, 150, and ignore that last digit. You press MO. That's, I believe this is transmit. It could be receive, I'm not sure. Then 160 megahertz, MO. Now this is the other, this is either transmit or receive. So the first one, if it was transmit, this is receive, 150 megahertz, MO, 160. 160 megahertz. Interesting that I could program it with the key lock on. And once you've got it on, then you can program the actual frequency. So we've got it in as 150. So this number here, the first one before the period, is the 0 in 150. So if I want to program this for 154.190, I put 419, press MO. So now we are listening to 154.190. And this is the local fire department. So right now, if I were to transmit, if I hit the transmit button, I think it would transmit. I'm not sure on that frequency. I'm not going to try it, and I'm not going to. I could be that it'll transmit at 150. I really don't know. You have a battery check. If you move this switch over, you'll see that the battery is pretty much fully charged. And signal strength. And when you press the transmit button, it'll show your either SWR or something like that. I'm not really sure. Like I said, can't find any information. This, like I said, it was probably made in 1986. And Yaesu doesn't seem to have that on their website. I have not tried to contact them. Oh, and it has a light. And I have absolutely no idea what most of these buttons do. But on the top here we have Vox, and it has on and low, and I'm not sure what that means, other than maybe if you have a mic on it, you can use a voice activated mic. And you have your transmit power, which is low or high, then squelch and volume. Not much else to it. The batteries I put in it have 300 milliamp hours more power than the originals, which were a bunch of sub or half AA NiCads. And like I said, I'll do up a drawing of how the circuit diagram that I hooked up for the BMS, in case anyone else is curious. There's no indication there's no lights or anything. There's no place on the BMS for that to tell if it's charged, and I have no idea if there was any way you could make it tell you if it's charged. But maximum power of this is 12.6 volts. I do not know what the cutoff is. Probably somewhere around 9 volts, and I don't know what the radio minimum requires, because like I said, no information on this radio. So I think that's it. Later.